3 seconds. Okay, we are live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, wherever you are. I'm excited to be here with my friend Mario Bekes. I have been a friend of Mario's for a little while. He has interviewed me on his podcast, and we have decided to do one here today. And so let me tell you why I am very privileged and honored to call Mario my friend. I'll just find
Thank you, Karen. Thank you so much.
Welcome, Mario.
You're welcome, Karen. Thank you for having us.
My pleasure. Let me tell you a bit about Mario. Over the past 30 years, Mario has conducted various types of investigations, both in Australia and other countries globally, within government sectors, defence and foreign affairs departments, and the corporate sector. And so, I wanted to interview Mario because I believe that Mario has taken his life from the average to the extraordinary. And of course, that's why we are going to talk a little bit about chasing dreams as well. He's one of the few people who's really lived full out, as far as I can see. So Mario has formed his own company as managing director and founder of a company called Insight Intelligence Group. And in that, he acts as what he calls architect of solutions for all manner of corporate investigations, human intelligence, and surveillance techniques. A little bit more about Mario. He took the Guinness World Records in 2023 in continuous audio broadcasting. And I love this phrase that he uses, "I'm the hero you never knew you needed." I love that, Mario.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you so much.
An ambassador for Activists for Humanity, which is something after my own heart as well. So with that, I want to hand over to you, Mario, and say, yes. Tell us a bit about your life and why you chose Life the Battlefield as your podcast title and what you're doing now.
Mario, Karen, first of all, thank you very much for having your podcast. It is a true privilege, particularly being on LinkedIn Live, which is a platform for all business people around the globe. It is something very unique for me, very close to my heart. I admire people like yourself who take next step and they interview people online. Because it's a challenge. The technology, the Wi-Fi, the internet, everything around us. It's so many elements working. What's it calling? If the podcast will be successful or not just the guest. So thank you for having me. Thank you for stepping out of the comfort zone and launching your own podcast. This is a great thing, you're going to enjoy. So look, the bio, it's very simple. And I didn't choose this life, and nobody did. So it happened to me like everybody else. The only difference is that now from this distance, I can say that if I need to live my life again, I'll live my life again. I think I will have the more faith, more understanding that thing will come. As Karen says in her expertise, there's a number of laws we are living by, but we don't adhering to them. We don't understand them. So, I was growing up in very, very poor family. Like my parents were just literally peasants, alcoholics, and typical communist product, everything factory. And I was always, petrified, I'm going to die in this place. I'm born. I want to see something more of the life. As I said, like life, it happened to me. So for me, it was turning point when I was age 14. My dad, my mom, they tried to show me the love and how much they care for me. And on Christmas Eve, they told me to literally get out of the house. So my father kicked me out of the house on a Christmas Eve. That was a great present. And my grandfather was passing by that night near our unit, and he was a highly positioned intelligence operative in ex-Yugoslavia. So he took me under his wing to make a story a little bit shorter, and he sent me military school. So the next time I saw my parents was 3 years later. I was on school holidays, 1991, and I said to people, "Be careful what you wish for," because I was studying to become the officer in Yugoslav People Army. But when you're officer and you building that career in the military, you want to have the war, right? That's the inside of you. You want to have that experience. So in 1991, I saw my parents during the summer holidays, and one morning on the 4th of July, somebody was knocking on my door. I opened the door, there's military police. They said, war started. I said, like, what do you mean war started? Like, it just... So in that moment, I had a choice to fight for the Yugoslavia, which I was preparing myself and to become the officer in the army, or to fight for independence, democracy for my state, Croatia, for independence. And the civil war broke out that very moment, 14th of July 1991. So I decided to fight for the democracy. For democracy, for me, was Coke and McDonald's, which I never saw in my life, and all these things, right? And next 8 years I spent in the military, 5 years in combat, and last 3 years on the war in the army I spent in military intelligence. So that's a nutshell.
Wow.
First part of my life. Yes.
Wow, Mario, thank you for sharing that. That's a really intriguing story, and I love what you chose, and I love, and how funny, isn't it, that how significant that it was the 4th of July, if you want to compare yourself with America at all.
Yes.
Which of course is their Independence Day. And I just love that you've been through that, and you've shared a few of the things that are close to my heart, like following, first of all, when you said thanks for having a podcast and being brave enough, and it is, there were some challenges around me getting online, learning how to use StreamYard, etc. And I had Edward helping me to do that. So if we go for it, if we decide we want to do something, but there's something holding us back, we know that we can overcome them. And so then if we look for those people to help us, we can do it. And doesn't it feel great being able to do this now? If I'd let those fears or those challenges hold me back, I wouldn't have the privilege of sitting here now and listening to your story and conversing with you like this, Mario, which is, great. So, so that was the start of your life and choice. And that's the other thing, is that you had a choice at that time. And you chose to fight for democracy, and that pretty much probably set up your goals for the future, or your mindset for who you're going to be, what kind of man you're going to be.
I want to be Rambo. I mean, I was truly believing that war is going to end up like it's going to finish in a couple of days or something like this, But there is for me personally, like when you are 18 years old, when I see my son is now 21 years old, it's going to be February next year. When I see him, I think myself, dear Lord, I was his age and I was already lieutenant, right? And I'm thinking myself, was I look like this, like a baby? And but look, I knew one thing. There was nobody for me. My parents escaped. My parents left me a message. Again, my father was a big man. All these alpha males I met in my life actually turned out that they be the biggest cowards, the biggest bullies, but the biggest cowards. So the war was usually being fought by the people who are average Joe like me, and I found myself amongst the motley crew. Like it was like nobody can prepare for the war, right? Nobody can prepare for destruction, on so many levels. But I knew that once when the war officially finished in '95. I need to look after my career. So I was looking the ways, will the military be my part or not? And I firmly decide I'm gonna stay in the army. I'm gonna progress in my career. Although I knew that I'm the war material. I'm not military looks people in the war. After the war comes a different generation. What happened to me? 97. I was being approached by I was in a coffee shop. It's like in the movies. I didn't even know it exists. Anyway, I was being approached by this lady and the 4 men in black, literally in black, and she gave me an envelope and she says to me, Mr. Bekes. I was like, you know who you're talking to? Like, she said, yes, I know. Sit there. I was like, oh. So she told me that I opened the envelope a little bit later. and she will see me next week. And I was thinking to myself, that's a joke, right? I'm in military intelligence and I should know everything. Turns out that I was being headhunted by the Foreign Affairs, Department of Foreign Affairs, and they wanted me to transition from military to the diplomacy in intelligence sector as well. It took me another 2 years, and then eventually in 98 in November, I landed in Australia. That's how I come to Australia. So my government, Croatian government, put me on a plane and said like, yeah, enjoy the, I was 27 years old, and I was accountable and responsible to deal on a national security matters. And I was, on the same token, I was separate for 20,000 kilometers from my motherland, right? So that gives you another extra layer of pressure and creativity and how to improvise things better and everything else, and not same time to be seen as because people forget one thing: for somebody to be the spy, you must be prepared to be the man of integrity, but the same token, you must be prepared to be the criminal. So it's always this gray zone and everything else. And then I decided to stay in Australia after 5 years. Like, yeah, freedom. I had enough. Actually, I had enough. 16 years almost of the government service. I had enough. Yes.
So Mario, can I ask you a question? How did you deal with the conflict between that being a person of integrity and the opposite when you were doing that, or even when you made the decision about, am I going to do this? How did you deal with that conflict that you just mentioned?
This has been given by training, right? So it's I knew that I have the job to do it, as always in my life. I can see only the key objective in front of me, and I know there's some elements I need to apply to achieve this. Let's say in military terms and even in business, you need to know, first of all, intelligence, who you fight against. Then you need to say what's the ratio of manpower or logistics are going to use, what time and date are going to reach my objective, and how I'm going to do it, and all this, a couple of these elements you need to do it. But my government, I knew it in that stage, when I was sent, they told me if something goes wrong, we're washing the hands, Pontius Pilatus. So you need to know that, need to do this split seconds, decisions. But I survived 5 years. I survived, and it was difficult times. It was a breaking points when I needed to make a decision what I'm going to do my next step. But I knew one thing. I told my boss, I'm becoming tired, and I'm 32 years old and I have nothing in my life, like literally nothing. I have nothing. I have no savings. I have a badge and gun. Well, like you see, 007 always has a nice car because government gave him. Has a nice suit because government buys him. He has a gun and a badge. I had as well. But account, it's not so. And then, I realized Australia, I fall in love with Australia very first day when I come in November, not because I saw the girls in the bikinis in Peace Street Mall, dressed like a Santa Claus. And I was like, wow, these people in Australia are so happy. They say hello to each other. In Croatia, you want to kill somebody in the morning, right? You hate yourself in the morning. Here, everything's relaxed, and I wanted to take this part of this. So, I met a woman, and she became the mother of my child. And I decided to stay. So that was a point when I think myself that was the first regret in my life at that stage, staying in Australia, giving up everything and start from the zero, because I done the biggest mistake when most of people doing, and that is you believe that life and the world owes you something. I believe I'm the Mario Bekes. I deserve to be head of ASIO, right? It doesn't work that way. So my first job, I stayed in Australia. At that stage, I was married. We expected a child. I was a bouncer, and I hated.
Yes. Oh God, I can see that. I can just imagine that going from there to there.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a challenge, but yeah, it was was a learning curve. Yes, please. Sorry, Karen. Sorry.
No, not at all. So what you did was you disassociated. When you were doing all the intelligence work for the government, you were able to, I asked you, how do you do that? Actually, well, your answer told me that you were able to disassociate parts of your life, parts of your
It was a lie. It was a lie, Karen. It was a lie, Karen. It was a lie. It was a lie. You live in lie. You live in big lie. You live in with one eye open and just a passport in your back pocket. That's it. So that's a lie.
And then, however, you were able to do it because you could disassociate that part of your life from you, the person of integrity, and carry on. And of course, when you went and became in Australia and became a bouncer, you almost had to do the same thing. You had to say, well, this is me here starting again, but this is who I am and this is what I'm capable of, right? Sorry, you can't see my hand. Yeah. This is who I am and this is what I'm capable of, but this is who I am here now while I'm starting again. And what a huge thing for you to deal with. Sorry, I can't think of the word. Challenge for you to go back and start from zero, which really it was, and start again. And that's one thing that as entrepreneurs we all have done. And I want everyone to know, there's a few people on here, we'll say hello in a second. What we've all done as entrepreneurs and business owners is rebuild our lives, rebuild ourselves many times over by the time we've had 5 or 6 zeros in our life, in our birthdays. So, yes, Mario, I love your story. Carry on from there. You started out as a bouncer in Australia, and I know that you don't stay here all the time. I know you still travel a bit globally. So where did you go from there to being?
Well, then unfortunately, then I couldn't even stay the bouncer anymore, because what they did when I stayed in Australia 2003, the 1st of January they changed the law that all foreigners like myself, they cannot hold any more security license. Till that day was possible, but they go retroactively. John Howard and the government, they go back and they say like, we don't want the foreigners to be security guard licensed if you're not permanent resident or citizen. And I said, oh man, come on, seriously, can you be security guard? So like I was demoted a little bit, you know what I mean? So I found a job. It sounds good. It says steward, right? Steward. It's like, oh, this is job, man. The girl champagne, you know what I mean? Whatever. Actually, steward was a job, night cleaner in a hotel in what was it calling? Kitchen, right? So that was the moment when I felt really, really low in terms of no, there's no lowest moments, but that was a moment I started doing crying, and hating everything around me, and I was coming home, my wife at the time, she was looking, she says, it's going to be okay. And I said, like, listen, I'm supposed to look after this family, you looking after. So it was my male ego, because where I come from, the man is who's looking after family. Not I don't care for we are equal. No. Man first puts man on table, man feeds the family, gives to wife and kid, and then what the left was man, right?
Yeah.
And then, little by little, I go to university, some TAFE courses, try to learn some English. And then job, 2007 lands me some proper job in corporate environment, national loss prevention manager. So I was then, the cleaner, and then I become again security guard because I become permanent resident. And then, subsequently, I landed a corporate job, national loss prevention manager, with a company called Game. It doesn't exist anymore. And why it doesn't exist? Because I was very successful, I was very well accepted. That called thing GFC, this is something when you stay with, this is the moment, when you realize it's not what you know and who you know, it's like how much money you have on account. So what happened, 10th of the February, that is one of my lowest moments. My wife, then she lost the job. My son was diagnosed day before with epilepsy. He was 7 years old, and I lost the job as well. So from that moment, everything was got bad. Marriage was just sinking to the point of breaking things. My son was become very, very ill. So apart of epilepsy was some things on his brain. And I decided to start my business. So I promised myself I need to look after my son, because if he's going to have the epilepsy for the rest of his life, I need to make him more money, this and that. So I decided to start my business. Yeah, I have no idea about business, but I will start a business. And of course, everybody was laughing to me. And I know that I was so poor, Karen, that if I was walking next to the bank, I would trigger alarm. That's how poor I was, right? So that I remember a good friend of mine, Anne, she gave me $1,000. She said, go buy yourself license to police, to go do investigations, because nobody want to give you a job, the GFC, everything else. So it took me from 2009 to 2012. And I always say this, I was working from every possible place. Plus I was working night shift as a security guard, so I can make some money. 2012 was my biggest contract landed in my business inside intelligence. And I do remember when I met these people, executives, with my beautiful exotic English, and people just when heard my English was like, oh, Mario, like they'll start to say, what he say, this guy, right? I know. So I remember I told the Greg Larkin, his name, I didn't saw him in ages. He's such a tough and rough man. He told me, I'll give you the case, I'll give you the job, but if you fail me, I call you once, that's it. You're never gonna work in the market. I said, I'm in. He said, what? I said, I'm for it. For that very moment, things start developing better and better. But to step back, in 2009, on all this, when they entrepreneurs talking, like many people said, how they started life and business. I remember before I was even contemplating to do something, we start selling stuff from our home, to the point where we start selling Mattel's toys, my son toys. And that was the lowest moment, walking into cash converters on Saturday morning when all these colorful motley crew waits to sell something for the still night before, so they can have some cash for the drugs. And I said to myself, this is the last thing I can do to survive weekend, to selling my son's stuff. And that moment on, I started working night shift. During the day, I was chasing the clients, tried to understand things that was happening around me. And yeah, that's pretty it, so.
Wow. And so, wow, Mario, what a story. I want to ask you, what gave you the courage and the energy to keep fighting, keep persevering? Like a lot of people, when you've told that story, a lot of people I'm sure can identify with being there, and yet many people would have just given up in some way and not kept going. You have kept going right through your life. What has given you that? Whoops, we've lost you. Just a moment. Oh, there you're back. What allowed you? What did you draw from to get that never give up, keep going attitude and energy? Do you think?
Something happened with the internet. I couldn't hear you properly. So can you repeat that again?
Ask you again. Yeah, Mario, what I want to ask you is, all through that time you had successes and then you had things that stopped you in your tracks. And I want to ask you, where did you draw from to keep going? What gave you the motivation and the energy to not give up and keep going until you've cracked it and become successful? Can you answer that?
Well, look, I will lie if I say right now, Karen, I was the bravest guy. I was the most courageous guy. No, I wasn't. I was very afraid. Even there was a moment when I tried to come back to these senses of my training. I remember 94, Croatia sent me to one training in France. And we go in that big, beautiful camp with all these legionnaires there. And I remember the point when we come in the bed on the third floor, and somehow they come across to me and they put this black balaclava on my head, and they hit my face, and they're doing all these things to break me down. And I said to myself, but anyway, I wasn't broken. even that they was literally torturing me, I found myself in position to apply some of these trainings that as long as I breathe, I can do it, as long as I'm healthy, and as long as you know why you're doing, you know what I mean? For me, it was, I just wanted my son has, you know what I mean? So he was with his mother. She was looking after him very well, always was, always will. And I think it is that that very point, I knew that I need to work for, this is my goal. So in life, you always need to have these key objectives. Even doesn't matter how small or big they are. So for me, it was I need to make it 2 invoices this month, I need to 3 invoices this month. So I was engaging myself into this imaginary world where my goals will be small, but I want it big actually. So that was my energy. Like I knew it. After all experiences in life, working government, and then you're working for corporation, nothing is secure. So only one thing is secure. It is that I can provide for my child and build my business as I always wanted. One thing I must say that I learned, I got at that stage, the DVD was then law of attraction, and I was watching this. You know what I mean? I was like,
the law of attraction. Yeah. Fantastic. That's why you were interested in what I do. Yeah.
So that was some things I did make it fun of, and then I was watching and said like, okay, if I start doing positive thinking or applying, if I apply my knowledge, what I know on best investigations, if I do the things nobody will laugh or to me, I'm never going to be successful. So I was doing things everybody told me, don't do it, don't write the books, don't go into business, your English is shit, nobody doesn't know you, you're too fat, you're too bald. Okay, that's all good, but why nobody asks me what I want? You know what I mean? Why I need to listen to you? Who is this wall I need to owe apology for what I want to do? When I knew that medications for Mateo was about $3,000 per month. With all these things was like, I need to do this because, I wanted to do it. Then when I saw that my results of my company's intelligence, the clients, and they give me pride even today. We never have a complaint in 14 years. We never had no issues and on any scale which couldn't be resolved, because I always say to my staff, it's not important what chairs we have here or what station your TV is, but result client wants to see. And that was I always treated, let's just say, my employees, which is now almost 200 plus, I treat them in a way, I always treat the people in a way I want to be treated in a business or in a previous employment. Plus the faith. I mean, the faith is something that people forgetting. Faith. I always believe it as something there, daydreaming, I'm going to do this. And it's difficult for the men to admit this, but I did, yes.
That is fantastic. You brought up so many good points there that I'd love to address. First of all, I want to say hi to the people. I don't know if you can see the people online, but we have Ray Ramsey. Hi. We have Mark Enster from New Zealand. We have Dixon Muwili. I'm not sure where you are. And Ray said, been there, done that. Oh, you've gone away, Mario. We can't see your face. Been there, done that, Mario, starting from scratch, doing jobs. You're back. Okay. I'm just saying hello to the people online. We lost you for a moment, but that's okay. I was saying hello. You've got Ray Ramsey here, Mark Enster from New Zealand, Dixon Muwali, and Ray says, been there, done that, Mario, starting from scratch, doing jobs you're so overqualified for, can be demotivating, and that's so true. I love, Mario, that you've brought up how you treat your staff, what you provide for your clients, your clients, because I think the difference between, and in Australia, I know probably your clients are global. Are they global, Mario, or do you only have Australian companies you work for? No, they're global, right?
I had a difficulty to understand what you asked because sometimes the sound on your end. Can you hear me properly?
I can hear you perfectly. If you can't hear me, maybe I'll just pop my headphones on and see if that
No, no, it's like it's a something with a sound because I'm not sure it's me or it's something. Okay.
Let me put my headphones on. Oops, I've lost you. So yeah, Ray, that's fantastic, and I hope that you too have been able to rebuild yourself. Can you hear me now? Can everyone hear me okay? Can you let me know if you can hear me? Hello? Mario, we've lost you. Can you come back into the studio as soon as you can?
Hello?
Hi, Mario. Is that better?
Okay. Now it's not absolutely now it was like dragging or something. So like I wasn't sure what's happened. So like it was like, sorry, Karen, last question, please. What was the last question? And I apologize to everybody. It's my fault.
That's great. And I've asked people if they can hear me, so everyone can hear me now. What was my question? I've gone blank now.
No, that's okay. That's just like, it's like that's what's like. When you asked me before this, I was brave and everything else. Look, it's easy to say now from this point of view, success and everything else. But first of all, when I started business, I said like, people laugh to you, people make a joke of you, everybody says to you what not to do. And I said to myself, why everybody telling me all these things? Why nobody says to me, go for it or do something?
Yes.
I mean, what you like. And it's like in conversation with you, I think the law of attraction, which I make it fun so much, I was just ridiculing in that video. I forgot who gave me and the book. I was like, come on, well, I'm gonna just wish something and it's gonna happen. But truly, then I applied my training and I applied the pressure points that, which is like I'm gonna do things I know the best, and let me think positively even in the moments when the darkest things happen. Things start moving. That's I remember start moving, and I mean it took a couple of years, but eventually start moving, and I didn't want to give up because I wanted to prove my son that that I can do this for him. Even he doesn't understand; he's a baby, but still, I wanted to prove that I didn't give up on everything and blame everybody. Even Karen, 15 years ago, I was blaming even you for my mistakes. Trust me, I was blaming you. Everybody's fault for my mistakes. Yeah.
I get it. And that's a huge turning point when we actually go from everything out there is why and realize, and life's happening to us, and realize that actually everything, like when you, what is it? They always say, when you point at something, there are three more fingers pointing back at you.
Yes, that's what I heard. Yes, that's what I heard as well. Yes.
Right. And it's true because we are the ones that create everything. And it is like you say, I love that you've got into understanding a little bit about the law of attraction. And a lot of people don't realize the law of attraction has nothing to do with just wishing for something. There are actually, let me give you a bit of information here, and I'm sure you know it, Mario, but let me give our listeners that, yes, by Ray, you've got to go, is that there are two energies that are required, or two frequencies for the law of attraction to work. There is the energy of our desire. So yes, we wish for what we want, and we know what it is too. It's really important for us to be specific and know what we desire. A lot of people don't get there. I've been speaking to people in the last few days where they say, oh, I'm not sure, and they're like the octopus. They're doing, all these different things.
Yes,
and they're saying, I don't know what to do. I'm not sure if I want to. I like this, but I'm not sure if I want to do it, or do this, or do that, or do that. And making the decision of exactly what it is we want is the critical. Because if we're going, I don't know, I'm not sure, maybe I can, maybe I can't, will I be able to, etc., and letting all those negative things come up too, like, people saying you can't do that, you don't have the good language, or you don't have the money, or you don't have the experience, or business is really hard, and we listen to them, then we're not going to get there. We're not going to be sending out the right messages for a start. So it's desire. And the second one is grateful expectation that it will happen. Okay. So did you know that you know about gratitude? Lots of people talk about giving gratitude for what we have every day. So important, puts us in a different frequency. But most people don't know that you can be grateful for something that you desire but hasn't yet happened. And when you put those two together, the law of attraction will work 100%. So it's knowing exactly what you want, desiring, and then having a grateful expectation that it's going to happen. So a lot of people don't know that, but I love that you have delved into that. And like you say, you brought up how all those negative things came up for you and people said things to you. Don't do it, why would you want to do that? And of course, that's always what stops us. So it's so important for people to have that really clear desire and then make the decision and the commitment. And so then when we get all these negative things, whether they're inside our head thoughts or whether they're what other people said, we go, no, I'm committed. This is what I said I will do. And making that commitment. And then, of course, as you know, Mario, taking action.
That's great.
Taking action.
Yes.
That's the grounding energy.
Look, I think that's the most common mistake of everybody. People believing that it's just gonna fall in your lap. And I think I can say with certainty now, I could give up, and I was like, there was a moments, it's like I just can't do this anymore, but then I'll wake up in the morning and try to remind myself why I'm doing this and what I want to achieve. So it was never like just let's go make money, let's go do this. One thing what I learned on that path, it's nobody's a self-made man or woman. Everybody can tell me their story, whatever they want, but I truly believe today I will not be here if I didn't have the assistance of few people who believed in me, who pushed me ahead, and they forged that path. And as a Professor Clive Smallman once upon told me, he told me it's not what you by nature, but by nurture. And there was a time when I need to start forgiving for the things in my life, not on my parents, but for myself, because I was holding grudge against them all my life and blaming everybody. So it's a lot of elements, and I can't believe I'm saying these things today. I'm the man. I'm just. But then I realized that I will not be here today with a Karen Clark talking if I didn't done something properly in my life. And I always, even my son, when he's with me, I said in the morning, today it's going to be a great day. And he says how do you know? Are you psychic? I said, I choose to believe. He's like, oh God. Yeah. No, that's his generation. But I said to him, Mateo, I said, I'm happy to see you healthy, my son. I'm grateful. And he was like, oh, stop it. So I think that people need to go to that type of challenges in life. Either you're going to learn or you will not learn. So life will break you, but will you allow life remake you as happened to my life? And that's a different story. Or you're going to be broken for the rest of your life.
And I love that. Like you said, you went through a lot of your life resenting your parents and blaming them. And it's like, yes, we all have a past. Yes, we all have had stuff in our lives, whether it was the way our parents treated us or whether it's what we think we didn't get as a child growing up or whatever. But there's a point. We're not our history. That's our story, right? Everyone has a story, and most of us create a story of why we're not successful or why we're not who we think we want to be or why we're not as good as you or me or him or her. And you know what? Our story and our history are not who we are. And we make that choice at any time, like you did, where you said, no, that's it. I'm not buying into that anymore. I'm not using that as an excuse anymore. I'm going to make life different by what choices I make every single day. I'm sure you decide it's going to be a good day, right? Because even that, I'm going to be happy today. It's going to be a good day. is a choice we make in here. And so if we decide that when we get up in the morning and a challenge comes up, we're going to deal with it in a very different way to if we got up and went, oh, I feel terrible. It's not a good day today. And then a challenge comes up and we go, yep, see, I knew it was going to be a bad day. And then another challenge comes up and we go, yep, perfect. This is going to destroy my day today. So it's all about where we come from in the beginning in our mindset and our mind shifts that we're able to do. So Mario, great stuff. Let's talk a little bit about frauds, because we told them we were going to give them fraudsters and scammers.
Yes.
Let's talk a little about that, because I too have been on the receiving end of scammers. I am sad to say, and I don't share this with many people. However, I know we are public. I've been on the receiving end of scammers and actually given away 6 figures, which is a lot of money. And I've had to rebuild my life because of that. And I could say, oh, I'm a failure because this happened, right? Like we're talking about, but I've said no. What I'm grateful for in that situation is what I learned, and that I'm still alive, because I could have been killed. Okay, so let's hear where you come from.
Oh, I can't wait to hear your story. Look,
I'm not going to share it on here, Mario. That's
no. Of course, that's what I was thinking of. You're not only one. Like I was being fleeced twice in my business, and I remember when I started my business. Oh my God, the guy comes to me on Friday afternoon. He needs an urgent job. He wants to check, like $10,000 on a weekend. Follow my girlfriend. And the major thing it is that we are being equipped by birth with a lie detector, which is called intuition. But we choose to go either logic or emotion. And that's how they are, you know what I mean? I don't want to name some public speakers, but that's how they're doing as well. So, he bought a check without a job. I come on Friday morning in the bank. I have a police same day. He says, like, where's this guy who gave the check? I was like, what do you mean? This is my money. He says, dude, there's no money. Because it's like, what do you mean? He said he's been chased by police because he was harassing girlfriends. So he's gone to every single PI agency and I lost $10,000 and whatever. We all become the victim of our own success sooner or later. One thing what we forgetting is that fraudsters, they're waging the asymmetric warfare, which means the minimum investment for the maximum gain. And how this works, globally for 2022, $5.1 trillion has been lost. $5.1 trillion has been wiped out of the market because of the fraudsters. In Australia, in last year, it's $3.1 billion. There's three major ways how the people get in money. It's online, that's what it is, to the love scam, which I recently done the article about her name is Hajia for real or Mona for real. You guys can Google it, go on my website, Inside Intelligence, it's in the blog section. She took it almost $3 million from few people, and people are lonely. Like let's just say 2020 to 2022, lockdowns, people are home, they're lonely, they need adrenaline, they need this, So they're playing on emotions, and then you have the logic, which is I don't want to name but we have for example, in this year and last year, almost $12 billion was wiped on a cryptocurrency. Guy was just like, there's no money, man. It just pyramid schemes and all these things. Doesn't matter what we do. It's how we are adjusting ourselves to the current situation. As we sinking into some financial oblivion, government doesn't care what's happening online. You can report this to the scammers. But when I said at the beginning, doesn't matter what government does or fraudsters, it's important what we do. I always say to people, if it's something too good to be true, it's too good to be true. I have one person in my life, she's a doctor. She lost $150,000 from the guy on a WhatsApp to the cryptocurrency. And I said to her, like, you're such a smart woman. She says, Mario, the story, Then you have something was called Yahoo Boys. Yahoo Boys started in Nigeria, maybe that decade ago, and every couple of weeks there's a new generation called Yahoo boys coming out because they're living in poverty, so they created that schemes how to fleece people the money. And how we they know how to fleece all the money? It's visiting social media. First of all these experts are never right about how we conduct investigations, but if you go on a LinkedIn or you go on any social media, there's so many of these experts who writes modus operandi, how to fraud is discovered, what investigations they do, and list goes on. That's how they learn. That's how they graduate. And secondly, they go on social media, so like who is rich, who is alone, who is not this and that. I mean, it looks very simple, but they using that instinct, Mario Bekes is a loser, let's go approach him with some blonde chick, right? And most of us was, oh my god, she's in love with me. That's what they're doing. And I think is internet literacy. You receiving emails daily basis on LinkedIn, on your email, everywhere. Like everybody offer you help. Recently, we done investigation into company called Lighthouse International Group. His name is Paul Wall, one of the big business coaches. He took it almost £5 million of the people and make a lot of people very sad, upset, and suicidal. So point is very simple. Fraud always going to exist and you can't prevent it. But what you can do is you can stop it. If you truly believe something is too good to be true, don't do it. Secondly, if it's so difficult, call me, I mean? I'll give you simple tools, guys can check online and just go there, and check these people. But the fact is, they're praying the most fraud is happening when the financial certainty is on the horizon rather than everything is great and good. And we become the victims of our success. Investigative fraud is very difficult, usually involves more money being spent to investigate, and there's no guarantee that anybody's going to be prosecuted whatsoever. So yeah, in a nutshell, yes.
Thank you, Mario.
You're welcome.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to wind up. I'm dressed up today more than I would normally online because I'm about to go to a fashion show at Sanctuary Cove. So I have a beautiful hat to put on and then I will be off. So thank you so much. It's been wonderful. I would love to do this again with you, Mario. I am so intrigued with your conversation, with you and who you are. Let's make a time to do this again, maybe next month. And continue the conversation. So once again, I'm honoured to know you. I'm so happy that Ed introduced us. It's been a wonderful journey getting to know you a little bit each time, and look forward to you coming to the Gold Coast and taking me for a coffee, like you said. And yeah, getting to know each other a little better each time.
Looking forward, Karen. Yes.
We'll be on again. Mark's here. He said, Mark Inkster in New Zealand said, thank you both. Thank you, everyone who came on live, Ray, Mark, and others, Dixon. And thank you, everyone who will watch this replay as well. We'll send this out to our networks. You send it to yours, Mario, and I'm sure we'll get a lot of results, a lot of comments back, because it's such an interesting conversation with you, Mario. So once again, thanks again. I will finish here now. And Mario, any last, how do people get in touch with you? How can people reach out to you?
Feel free, just go on LinkedIn, Mario Bekes, and just go to Karen under her connection. Just search for Mario Bekes LinkedIn. That's the best way, so people can, check my credentials and everything else. Karen, go to the show. Guys, enjoy the weekend. Today it's a good day to be happy. So everybody be happy, stay happy. And Karen, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mario. Talk again soon. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.